'Tis the season for the Rumble. Fa la la la. I'm so sorry that I started singing, guys, but it is a joyous time of year here on the greatest podcast of all time. It is Wrestling with Egos. It is Royal Rumble weekend, and me and these two distinguished gentlemen that are a part of this show, the real triple threat of professional wrestling. Screw you, Shane Douglas, even though I'm a huge fan. Welcome to Wrestling with Egos. I'm Patrick. There's RJ. There's Brian. Boys, how's it going?
Good. Going wonderful. New set.
No. Brian with the new digs. Got
a man over my left shoulder.
Yeah. RJ, Reginald Johnson. It has been it's been a minute since we've seen you. Deepest condolences on your on the Browns on the Browns.
Well, while I appreciate that, the last time I appeared on the show, the Browns hadn't won a playoff game in 28 years, and now that's not true anymore. So
this is true. They did beat your very hated Pittsburgh Steelers. So
a bunch of records doing it.
Said what?
I said pretty handily. Set a bunch of records doing it.
Yep. So condolences. But at the same time, hell of a season.
Yeah, I'm very happy.
Condolences for your Saints dropping a hard fought one to the Tom Brady led Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and quite possibly the end of one career of Drew Mother Bleeping Breeze.
I'm bracing for it.
Yeah, and me without a team. So, hey,
I'm fine with it. For the record, I understand. I can be philosophical about this one, unlike last year and the year before that and the year before that. But
right. But hey, I hear Houston's got a quarterback they're trying to get rid of. Anyway,
we won't even be able to come near him.
Oh, I know.
Quick take on them.
Go ahead.
I would be fine with a year of Jameis Winston. I honestly would be.
What you're gonna get.
Yeah.
That's probably what you're gonna get, is a year of Jameis Winston to see if he can be not the 30-30 man. But the Texans aren't trading Deshaun Watson. He said, the GM said that today.
I know. It was always going to be a pipe dream.
It'll happen. He'll get moved.
And I would like to send out a big screw you to every single Browns fan on Facebook and Twitter that is putting Baker Mayfield's name in trades for Deshaun Watson. That is a joke. Stop it.
Right. I mean,
before we came on, I watched a Stephen A. video about him, saying that Baker's absolutely right to clap back at those people.
Yes.
Right. Hey,
how dare you?
Hey, and this will be the last thing we say on football, and then we'll move on to what we really all came here to see.
Yes.
Deshaun Watson, arguably, very much better than Baker Mayfield, in terms of skill set and everything else. But it's not just skill set we're talking about here, boys and girls. It's a 3-letter word that means everything in any sport. FIT. Fit. And Baker Mayfield is a perfect fit where he is with what he's got. Shut up. That's my story, and I'm sticking. Boys, let's go ahead and move on. I think RJ's frozen up, unless he's just staring blankly off into space. Yep, there we go. We're off and running with some really damn good technical difficulties here, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get RJ back as soon as we can. There's RJ. Come on, bud.
I love when my Skype just closes itself. It's great.
Oh, I know. Yeah, we're having some. As I just said, we're starting the ball off rolling with some great technical.
Put 4 quarters in the slot this time instead of just 1.
Yeah. Yes. Make sure you hit continue. Anyway, we got a lot to talk about. But before we get to the Rumble and predictions and surprises and all of that really awesome stuff, we got some big news that we do need to talk about this week, and it all starts with the sale. I can't even believe we're talking about this. The sale of the WWE Network to NBC Universal to be launched onto their streaming service Peacock starting in like mid-March. Go ahead.
I have all the particulars right here. I'm glad you asked.
That way I'm not guessing. Hit it.
Right. The sale was announced early this week. Kind of threw me for a loop, but effective March 21st with the Payback event, or no, the Fastlane event. I'm sorry. The network will be housed under the Peacock streaming service. There's 2 tiers you can purchase. $9.99 is ad free. $4.99 is the base price with ads. But it's basically $9.99 with no commercials is the same price as we were paying already for the network.
But you're also
The
getting
pay-per-views are also included in that.
to what?
There's no extra charge for the pay-per-views.
Right. But
And the
correct me.
most important thing to consider, the Lovebird already said yes. So we're good. That's if you don't take anything else away from that, ladies and gentlemen, we're good because the Lovebird said go ahead and do it.
Yeah. But also something else to think about. That $9.99 isn't just getting you WWE Network.
Correct.
That's
It's everything else they have.
you think. All right. So let me just
Save
throw
me
this.
a subscription cost.
Say what?
This is going to save me a subscription cost because right now I pay for both of them.
Right. So think about this. If you're a sports fan, because most wrestling fans are a fan of some sport other than professional wrestling. You know, if you like soccer, you have all English Premier League right there. If you like NASCAR, all of their stuff right there on demand.
Boogity, boogity, boogity.
If you like hockey, all of their stuff right there.
They're supposed to have one Sabres game on this year, eh?
Hey, Christmas miracle. Meanwhile, RJ and I cheer for teams that don't suck.
I can't help it that I didn't grow up in Boston.
RJ didn't grow up in Boston. I didn't grow up in Pittsburgh, but those are our hockey teams.
I know.
For very good reason.
Exactly. So I'll say it for both. Let's go Bees. Let's go Pins. Anyway.
You can both take a flying leap.
Anyway, moving right along. What are your thoughts, RJ? Let me start with you because you've been away from the show for a couple of weeks, and let's be honest, you are the biggest WWE hater on the show. I hate even using that phrase, but comparatively speaking to the two of us, you're the hater. Whatever. Your thoughts on your thoughts on this, and if you want to put an AEW spin on it, go for it. But launch, fire away.
There is a little bit of an AEW spin to put on it because NXT is going to end up moving, but that's not really much of anything. I think it's a win-win for everybody. I think it's a win for the fans. I think it's a huge win for WWE.
Yeah.
And I think it's a huge win for NBC Universal because there are a lot of people, like I said, that I pay for. I don't pay for the WWE Network on a regular basis. I don't pay for it every month. I kind of have I'm going to pay for it when I want to watch something thing going on. But there are months where I pay for both Peacock and WWE Network. That will save me a subscription, but I'm sure I'm in the minority. I'm sure most people that this is affecting don't usually have Peacock and would only have the WWE Network. So this is going to give them a whole lot of content that they would not otherwise have had that they do not pay an extra subscription fee for. I think it's a win for everybody.
That's kind of the way I'm looking at it because as a fan and someone that likes English Premier League and someone that likes the National Hockey League, as a sports fan, this is a huge deal. Oh, by the way, NBC Universal also has exclusive American broadcasting rights to this little thing that happens every 2 years called the Olympics.
Which is my favorite in the world.
Say what?
This is not a thing that you guys have really ever known about me, but I am an Olympic junkie. I watch everything.
Me too. I learned about handball when they were in London.
Love handball. Gotta say, Summer Olympic. I like the Winter Olympics more than the Summer Olympics, only because I am a curling fiend.
Yes. You know what my guilty pleasure is for the Winter Olympics? Bobsled.
Yeah, I love bobsled. Skeleton's pretty awesome.
Skeleton, there's no way in hell you can get me to do that. I'm not going head first or first down an ice chute.
Yeah, right. I hear that.
I need to be in a car of some sorts. Anyway, I think it's a huge win. I agree with you. Huge win for everybody, especially WWE, because I think that sale went for like $1 billion.
1.1.
I mean, hey, Vinny is over there just racking in $1 billion deals over the last since this show has been on YouTube. $1 billion deals. This is now his second one. So hey,
and there are a lot of people on the train of thinking that this might end up leading to an eventual sale of the entire company by Vince. And as much as I want to say that'll never happen, a month ago I would have said him selling the WWE Network would never happen. So
right. Which kind of leads me to think, hey, company in flux a little bit. This could be it'd be very interesting next couple of years for WWE. I do want to address one thing, and RJ quickly squashed any idea of me thinking he was going to go here, but I do want to go here. There are some people, idiots mind you, that say that because this is happening and because NXT is going to be moved from Wednesdays, because by the way, they play hockey on Wednesdays on NBC, that AEW won the Wednesday Night War. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Here's why. Number one, it's being moved being moved because content already exists on the platform.
yeah.
And number two, realistically, if you want to compare and have this Wednesday Night War, which we've had fun with, but notice we also haven't gone the full Brian Alvarez treatment and gone, here's your ratings every week. Here's how many people watched every week. It's AEW's flagship show against WWE's number 3 show. It's
not really a war.
No.
Not at all.
And here's the thing. I think you can count on one hand combined how many times both shows cracked 1 million viewers. Combined. One hand. More than likely. Yeah. So, but
I can only think of one time. What did Winter is Coming crack 1 million?
I think so. Halloween Havoc cracked 1 million. The show that AEW ran opposite Halloween Havoc cracked 1 million as well.
Okay. Because in my opinion, this whole Wednesday Night War thing was overblown from the start. I think we're past that point. I mean, at least I'm past that point. We have to recycle all these ideas. Oh, look, it's another war. No, it's not. It's more wrestling content for us to consume.
Well, here's the reason it got so overblown. And RJ can probably attest to this more than anybody else, because RJ's not as extreme as some of the other people out there on the interwebs, but RJ is a card-carrying member of, the AEW family. A lot of AEW fans, because of AEW, are 1,000,000% anti all things WWE. Even to the point of screw WrestleMania. Screw the Royal Rumble, which, let's be honest, as a wrestling fan, if you don't like the Rumble and if you don't like WrestleMania, well, I'm going to pray for you. Because if you don't like the Rumble and you don't like Mania, you don't like wrestling, get off this channel.
Right. I agree.
I mean, even RJ just said it. I agree. I mean, as much as he loves AEW, he's been to 2 more WrestleManias than either one of us have.
I'll tell you straight up, I am this kind of hammers it home about being a wrestling fan and WrestleMania and the Royal Rumble. I will be watching Mania when it airs in April. and I will be watching the Royal Rumble on Sunday. And that will be the first WWE show I have watched since Halloween Havoc.
Wow.
Because I don't care enough.
Right.
I don't like supporting the company because of Vince specifically. And
to be fair, there hasn't really been that much going on that you've missed.
No.
And I'm not gonna deprive myself of something that I absolutely enjoy. The Royal Rumble is my favorite wrestling show, regardless of company, that happens all year. I'm not going to deprive myself of that just because I dislike Vince McMahon. Like, it's ridiculous. Why would I mean, I'm not. You mentioned that a lot of diehard AEW folks are anti-WWE. I am by no means anti-WWE. I am anti-supporting Vince McMahon's company. I don't care if that company is WWE. I don't care if that company is the World Bodybuilding Federation. I don't care if it's Ico Pro. I don't care. I don't care what it is. If Vince McMahon had an iced tea company, I wouldn't buy the iced tea. It's about him.
It sounds to me like somebody watched that video of the 10 biggest failures of Vince McMahon's, because you just mentioned 3 of them.
Yeah. So wait. So RJ, you were never an XFL fan?
I was, actually. I was a massively huge XFL fan, but that was...
Who was your team?
He got a He Hate Me jersey in his closet.
Oh.
I'll tell you who my team was. And I'll tell you why, too. I lived in Arizona at the time of the original XFL, and I wanted to pick a team that was close to me, so I was a Los Angeles Extreme fan.
Nice.
Hashtag
runner.
When Tommy Maddox ended up a Pittsburgh Steeler, I was not at all happy about that.
Yeah. Hashtag front runner. I was an LA Extreme fan, yeah, because they won the title.
I was an LA Extreme fan all year, not because they won the championship.
Anyway, let's move on. I'm going to lay out of this conversation because, quite honestly, full disclosure, haven't watched the match yet, but I will set up the conversation for these two guys. So apparently, if you guys were watching AEW Dynamite Wednesday night, happened to be a slightly banger match that's already getting early consideration for 2021 Match of the Year. And no, it didn't involve Omega. It didn't involve Hangman. It didn't involve Cody. It didn't involve Moxley or MJF or Jericho or anybody else. It involved Dax Harwood of the Iggy Award-winning Tag Team of the Year and Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Real quick, let me just really kind of make fun of that a little bit. A tag team specialist. God bless America. I hate that term. Tag team specialist and the son of Luke Perry.
And this is why if you're a wrestling fan, you should actually maybe watch wrestling, because you will get your mind blown from time to time, like I did on Wednesday evening when I queued up this match, thinking, okay, it's Dax Harwood and Luchasaurus is handcuffed to Tully and
Cash.
Oh God,
Cash Wheeler.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm so very sorry. I forgot his name.
All handcuffed to Lucha.
Yeah, outside the ring, and they're just going to squash this kid. But again, when you tell a great story, as Dax Harwood and Jungle Boy did, you both come away looking like $1 million.
Yeah.
And the fact that Jungle Boy won the match and then got worked over after the fact, because you had the powder to the face of Luchasaurus and they cut the horns off, that was a bit much for me. I didn't need to see that. But it was a great match, and it displayed the skill set that Jungle Boy has. I'm guilty of not paying that much attention to him.
Oh,
He's had some other matches, and I thought, that's pretty cool. But one thing that's really easy, at least in my eyes, to do on AEW is get lost in the shuffle if you're not careful.
Oh yeah.
Because there's so many guys and girls on AEW, it's really easy to get kind of lost.
And at the same time, AEW maybe even more than WWE. It's pretty top heavy.
Oh, it's very top heavy.
Yeah. So that's what I came away with on Wednesday night was wow. And then I was messaging both of you, asking you how long Jungle Boy has had that entrance music. Because I remember that entrance music from when I was a kid. Because I think that the song is called Jungle Boy, and it was a hit in like '83 or something like that for somebody.
Boy, I think it's actually the name of the song.
So, and then you said Tony Khan gave it to him as a Christmas present. Here's your new entrance music. What do you think? And now he came out to it, and that was the first thing that got my attention. I'm like, I know this song from somewhere. And then the match, happened, and so I'm just it's another guy for me to get invested in, like Darby Allin, like Hangman Page, like all these people that I've talked about ad nauseum over the past 12 months.
Right. Let me ask one quick question before RJ gives his thoughts, and then we move on. Just like with excuse me, just like with Chris Jericho's theme, Judas, how fans sing along. Are they starting to do that with Jungle Boy's music?
They did. They. It seemed like they did it during and then continuing after it ended.
So
yeah,
it's
they were
kind of becoming almost like the Adam Rose thing.
Yeah.
Hey,
for the Fandango.
hey, you can make fun of Adam Rose in the ring all you want, but dude, especially during his NXT days, that guy's entrance was sick.
Yeah, for sure.
RJ, your thoughts on Jungle Boy and one half of one of the two greatest tag teams on the planet?
I think that the match between Jungle Boy and one half of the second greatest tag team on the planet was absolutely phenomenal.
I have to interject here. We do have to acknowledge them as the best tag team on the planet because they did win the Iggy Award. We have to stand by our own awards. And I'm trying to say this with a straight face, trying to force your hand.
Patrick, I forgot to tell you that we received a formal letter of protest from one of the hosts of the show about the result of that Iggy Award, and apparently it's come home to roost.
Must be present to win.
Phenomenal. Great. Yeah, that match, they tore the house down. I mean, Jungle Boy winning was completely out of left field for me. I didn't think he had a chance to win that match ever. I loved the dynamic of Luchasaurus being handcuffed to the other two guys on the outside of the ring. I also loved the fact that that dynamic did not interfere or come into the match. They left these guys are handcuffed, so they can't interfere, and they didn't interfere, and that's phenomenal. I hate matches where something's supposed to keep somebody from interfering, but then they end up being able to interfere anyway, and it's just all convoluted and terrible.
Like JJ Dillon in a shark cage.
Okay, yes, yes.
Anybody in a shark cage.
No. Hey, JJ Dillon made that crap famous.
Absolutely. I was pleasantly surprised by, not too surprised, but I was pleasantly surprised by Dax's work as a single against a guy like Jungle Boy. Their styles didn't seem like they would mesh well for me before the match, but knowing how talented they both are, I expected it to be good. I did not expect it to be great, and it was the best Dynamite match this year, probably.
I came in thinking exactly the same thing. I thought, okay, this is just a match for the sake of a match, basically. And I know they're trying to tell a story. I wasn't prepared for the story to be that well executed.
And with the way you guys are talking, with the way it ended and the beatdown and Luchasaurus getting his horns cut off, sounds like we got ourselves a program here, boys and girls.
Yes. Yep. Sorry for ruining that all for you, Patrick. I forgot that you said you haven't watched it yet, and now we just, I just spoiled the whole thing for you. I'm very sorry.
that much because I am more interested in seeing the product from bell to bell.
Yes.
You know, I would be more ticked off if it were like a monumental, like if I didn't watch the Rumble last year and then you guys told me, oh yeah, Edge came back. Wait, what?
Oh yeah, it was great. He came out. It was great. You know, there was some smoke. You know,
Yeah.
people clapped.
So, speaking of Edge coming back, nice little segue because again, 'tis the season for the Rumble, and that's the rest of this show, boys and girls. We're gonna talk best pay-per-view of the year, most fun pay-per-view of the year, and probably I think easily the one that the three of us look forward to the most for oh so many reasons. And it is the Royal Rumble. First off, the card itself outside of the Rumble is actually really solid this year. Given the fact that Joel,
I know one match and I'm not excited about it at all.
Say what?
I know one match on the card and I'm not even a little bit excited about it.
I'm excited to see Roman and Kevin Owens again.
Oh, I guess I did know that one too.
Roman and KO again. I'm here for that one.
I disagree with you on that. I still think this pay-per-view is paper thin after the Rumbles.
And you know what? I might be wrong, but the more and more I think about it, don't get me wrong, I'm still not happy about Goldberg being in this match with Drew, mainly because I'm worried about Drew McIntyre's safety, not his health, his safety, because I'm still holding ill will against Bill Goldberg for damn near killing The Undertaker, and ending Bret Hart's career and turning him into the grumpiest butthole in the history of wrestling. All of a sudden, superstar Billy Graham isn't squat in terms of grumpy old men. Anyway, but honestly and truly, the more and more I think about Goldberg and Drew, I'm intrigued by it because this might be one of the few times that you can compare it. One of the few times since Goldberg or Oldberg came back to WWE, this might be one of the few guys that you can look at his opponent and say, physically, this guy measures up to 1998 Goldberg. And I don't know why, but there's something about this that, well, don't get me wrong, there's a whole lot about this that stinks to high hell, but there's something about it that I can't quite put my finger on, but it just seems like this could be not god awful.
I never have hopes for a Goldberg match to be not god awful.
Okay.
And that's 25 years of thinking that way.
Hey, you know what? I might be wrong, and you know what? It wouldn't be the first time in the history of this show that I was wrong about something. It's just a gut feeling.
When you picked Auburn over Georgia, you were wrong about that.
Oh, go to hell.
Take a walk with me on this, guys.
With Elias?
Yes. Elias is gonna hit both of them over the head with a guitar and pin them.
Hey, mine's over there. Do I need to go get it?
Sure.
Play my 2-4.
No, seriously though.
Grab Logan.
Goldberg's got like a 2-match a year contract or something at this point, a Legends contract, you would think.
Something like that.
I was talking about this with my buddy Chris, #friend of show. Shout out to Chris. At work the other day. What if, and I'm not saying I want this to happen, but we're speculating here. What if Goldberg shows up Sunday night and does his usual Goldberg thing? 4-minute, attempt to do jackknife and all that stuff, and he pins Drew. Wins the championship, but then his return match is not at WrestleMania. It's at Elimination Chamber, where now he's got to go into Elimination Chamber, defend the title against 5 other guys, one of whom is McIntyre. And McIntyre wins it back to go into WrestleMania as champion. And then it's bye-bye Goldberg. We don't see him ever again. He rides off into the sunset.
Wouldn't do it. You know why? Mania, and here's why. Rumble, Goldberg won. Elimination Chamber, Drew won. You got
We're
to.
past the point with him where we care about best of 3.
No. WWE will do that because that's what they always do. If you do something like that, there has to be a part 3.
No, there doesn't. I don't work for WWE.
But
this is Brian booking, sir. This is Brian Mania.
Okay.
37.
Okay. I'm talking, okay, if it's WWE, no. That's the main event for Mania because now you gotta go 3.
I gotta tell you what happened to me the night that Goldberg came back and like challenged Drew to the championship. I can tell you the exact date that it happened.
That crisply booked segment?
Because I was scrolling Twitter in my bedroom that evening while wifey was watching something on the TV. I don't remember what it was. And I was scrolling Twitter and just started busting up laughing. And it cannot go without me pointing out that on the same day that New Japan crowned Kota Ibushi new double champion, creating a brand new top guy, creating a brand new ultimate wrestling superstar. He calls himself, he became God, is what he says. On the same day that New Japan crowned and created a new ultra superstar, WWE made Goldberg the #1 contender for the WWE Championship. And that is stereotypical why I don't watch their program.
Yeah.
Would you rather have column A?
Same day.
Right.
Or column B? A?
Much rather
better now or now?
I'd much rather have the column that doesn't put another wrestler's life in jeopardy.
I'm with you.
Another wrestler's life. I would dare say that Kota Ibushi puts his life in jeopardy on a regular basis.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Let's go ahead and move into the other title match, which actually looks like it's going to be more than halfway decent. Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. First off, heel Roman. Oh my God. There isn't a single thing about this I dislike in the least.
Fantastic.
Since this show came on, we have just sang the praises to the heavens on certain things without any question or argument from anybody else on this show. The Fiend and his arrival, heel Bailey, and this. These are the three things that have happened in wrestling that are just like, oh my God, this is groundbreaking. Here's my thing. Obviously, Roman's gonna beat Kevin. They're gonna beat the crap out of each other in this last man standing match. My real question is, who's Roman gonna get next?
Well, if you can wait till the next segment, I'll answer that question.
Probably.
Yeah. So, well, let's go ahead and get into the Royal Rumble itself. You know what? Can I just be honest? Can we just go ahead and like just start calling this the Pat Patterson Memorial Royal Rumble?
No argument here.
I mean, the man only created it, and Vince thought it was a stupid idea. And then Dick Ebersol, the genius that he is from NBC Sports, was like, "This is great."
Love you, Pat.
I know, but so let me ask you these questions before we get into winners. Both men's and women's. Got any surprises?
What are we considering a surprise?
A surprise is an unexpected return, a legend coming back, a NXT call up that no one sees coming. So, for example, Rhea Ripley is not a surprise.
John Cena.
Dana. That's
Man, I hope not.
Can I be honest? I actually hope that happens.
I've always been a Cena.
Say what?
I've always been a Cena fan personally. I know that's not where you're going with this, but I've always liked him.
I've been off and on the Cena bandwagon, but honestly and truly, I think now that he's taking his leave from WWE and he's becoming one of those part-time guys, but he's also acknowledging, yeah, when I go back, I'm going back for a purpose to further someone else. He's doing it the right way, and I'm like, you know what? We took this dude for granted. It's kind of, almost like a revisionist history kind of thing. Like, oh, wow, we had something really badass with Cena and, didn't really appreciate it for what it's worth. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think he was a great wrestler by any stretch of the imagination, but for WWE, yeah, perfect. But I would love to see Hogan.
He saved what could have easily been a sinking ship after Rock and Austin.
Oh, God, yeah. B, you look like you've been chomping at the bit to say something. Hit it.
All right, I'm going to start with the ladies. As far as surprises go, there's a couple obvious ones because the first one, you did not have Lita and Trish in the ring at the same time. Lita came out first, and she was eliminated by the time Trish came out. So I think we might get that. Where they come out within like 2 or 3 positions of each other and they get to square off.
I'm not gonna lie, that would be dope.
Yes. And I know there's no chance it's going to happen, but you want never saw it coming return for the women? AJ Lee.
Oh God, I would melt.
I would die.
I know it's not going to happen, probably. More than 95% against it happening. But I can't come up with any other names of surprises.
I think, and don't get me wrong, I don't think this is happening either. I think you have a better chance of her husband being in the Rumble than her.
Can I throw out a name for the woman?
Of course. Sure.
Taya Valkyrie.
Her contract's up.
Her contract ran out with TNA. Impact. She got arrested on an episode of Impact for poisoning and trying to shoot somebody, and she admitted to it, and then they had security police officers escort her out of the building.
The Johnny Bravo and Rosemary angle, yeah.
Right, and then they cut to Bravo and somebody else, I don't remember who it was, AC Romero, I think, maybe, and Tommy Dreamer. And Dreamer said that she's likely going to go serve her time in Greenwich or New York, or I don't remember exactly what he said. It was a couple weeks ago now, but he made some sort of offhand comment where if you got it, you got it, where it kind of meant that he was maybe saying she was going to WWE. Her husband already works there. For anybody that doesn't know, that's John Morrison. Taya Valkyrie.
I didn't even think about that, sure. But that would be good. I mean, she is a phenomenal talent.
Longest Dutch champion.
I mean, good Lord, that would be awesome. I had a couple. One's already been mentioned, and that is Cena. I got one for the women, and maybe it's just me kind of like because I would love to see it, because even at her age, she's still a freaking badass Medusa, Alundra Blaze, whatever you want to call her.
She would be Alundra Blaze in the Rumble for sure.
Right. There's a lot of other people I would want to see, but that are legends and WWE Hall of Famers, but they've also had brief, sometimes no longer existent alliances with AEW. So I think those bridges have been burned. So I don't think we're ever going to see this in the Rumble.
Right.
True.
But
as far as my Iron Woman, I think Bianca Belair comes in at number 2, and she goes all the way to the end, eliminates 11 people, and wins the damn thing.
I didn't have the number of women she eliminated, but I pretty much had that. Bianca Belair, in my opinion, she's in the first 5, and she's and it's her. I think the last 2 in the Women's Rumble are Bianca and Rhea.
I see. It's funny that you say that, because Brian just said that he thinks Bianca Belair is going to win, and my prediction to win is Rhea Ripley.
And can I be
If you
honest?
want to know the last 2, I think it's actually going to be Belair and Shayna Baszler. And that would be a statement to eliminate Shayna.
First off, get Shayna Baszler away from Nia.
Yes.
Get away from Nia.
I feel so terrible for her and how she's been used, how she's been booked. Ugh.
Before we continue, RJ and I both had a little thing, because I kind of skipped over them before we get. Do you want to do your segment, or do you want to just keep on rolling?
Mine is going to be an ongoing thing for the next couple of weeks, I would imagine. So mine can wait.
Okay, well, mine is the topic that we're discussing.
Stuck right? It. So go ahead.
And it is Nia Jax. So hashtag rant mode on. How many more people does this talentless, reckless hack have to hurt before you do something about it? Let's be honest. How many concussions has this woman dealt out to other women in the ring with her? How many injuries? The only person in the last 3 years in women's wrestling that could even be considered as reckless and as dangerous as Nia Jax is Ronda Rousey. And Ronda Rousey was doing her ish on purpose.
Right.
You know, there's a reason that Alexa Bliss doesn't wrestle very much anymore. And it's because Ronda Rousey decided to be a witch. I'm watching my language, boys and girls. Ronda Rousey decided to be a douche nozzle. And so help me God, if she comes back in this Rumble, I hope Nia Jax hurts her. But all joking aside, at some point, you have to realize that Nia Jax has never gotten it in terms of keeping the person you're in the ring with safe. The only reason, luckily for us, she could have easily have wrecked everything that we got out of Becky Lynch. Because as the man was starting to become the man, when SmackDown invaded Raw, she broke her face by punching her right in the mouth. And by the grace of God, Becky shook that off, went through the crowd, up into the stands, did that pose with the blood all over her face, and thank you very much. We're off and running. But aside from that, there's nothing redeeming about her, because she just hurts people.
I mean,
Get her out of the damn ring before she kills somebody. Get her out of the ring before she drops someone on her head like another talentless person that has no business being in the ring. Goldberg. Rambo off. So anyway, thanks for letting me go on that tangent, guys.
you mentioned a name that I had forgotten that I was going to mention. Guys, I don't know if you've seen it, but Becky Lynch changed her profile picture on Twitter,
I'm coming. Oh my God.
and right under that, her caption says "Time to go to work." Now, I'm gonna say Becky Lynch comes back in the Women's Royal Rumble.
Will?
That would be huge. Because I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest. None of us have ever birthed a child. But it is very likely, very feasible for a woman with her athletic background to be able to get back into shape.
Right.
In the time that her and Seth's son, or was it daughter?
I have no idea.
Right.
Son.
Since the kid was born. Because it was around Christmas, I want to say, or maybe even early December.
Early December.
All right. So yeah, had plenty of time. I didn't even think about that. Holy crap, that could be massive.
Yeah. The pop that she would get in front of a live crowd.
It would be earth shattering.
Yes.
It would be earth shattering. Because and guess what? Oh my God. If she comes back, the final two in the Rumble are her and Ronda. Because I'm gonna be honest, it would not surprise me one bit to see Ronda Rousey back in the Rumble. There's been too many rumors, and just like last year when you heard those few rumblings about like MVP, and a few rumors of Edge. Where there's smoke, there's fire, especially when it comes to the Royal Rumble. Wouldn't surprise me to see Ronda Rousey back in there. Wouldn't surprise me to see you bringing up those great points about both Taya Valkyrie and Becky Lynch. Those would be huge. Wouldn't surprise me to see Rhea Ripley. So one other question concerning the women's Rumble and surprises. Wrong answers only. Who's the surprise that you want to see? Wrong answers only.
Sunny.
Jillian Hall.
Please don't sing though.
God, no.
Women.
Ooh, her and Elias doing a duet.
Oh God.
Wrong answers only. Oh boy, I'm taking way too long to think about this. Because I'm actually trying to make it be not so preposterous. But if it's wrong answers only, Stephanie.
I was gonna say Linda.
Oh Lord.
That would be great.
Here comes Linda McMahon and King. She's got a steel chair. What the hell?
What the hell? All right, let's go ahead and move on to the.
That says genetic jackhammer.
Oh gosh. Moving on. Same questions for the men's side of the Rumble, guys. Surprises first. Let's go. Let's get a couple out of the way that we know aren't surprises anymore. Edge. Can I be honest? I'm glad he announced because we already did the surprise last year. You do it again, it's like okay.
Right.
2 years in a row and it loses the magic. Any surprises you thinking for this one?
I would love to see maybe about number 18 or 19. The timer counts down and nobody comes out But then the camera swings around to the announce desk, and Samoa Joe's music hits, and he just gets up and takes off the blazer. Breaks off the pants, and he's got his gear on underneath, and let's go to work. Let's bless you with that power game. I know he's not going to win, but I feel like his medical, whatever's going on, hopefully is taken care of, and he can get back to just being an ass kicker again.
I've got another one similar to that. I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
Oh,
Really?
became a U.S. citizen today.
Yes, he did. I'm sorry, but I would love to see Wade Barrett back in the ring.
Oh, that'd be phenomenal. I always loved him.
I loved Barrett.
He deserves to be a much bigger star than he was and got buried by Cena, but we'll move on from that.
And can I say one thing? I could listen to that guy read the phone book. Just the guy's voice is just awesome.
Right.
RJ.
I'm gonna say Cena, and then I said Cena, and then I'm gonna say one that has been rumored about on social media. I'm actually going to personally squash it. There have been a lot of rumors that with Switchblade Jay White's contract running out in New Japan, that he's going to show up in the Royal Rumble. Let's squash that and put it to bed right now. New Japan does not have a habit of advertising guys for shows they're not going to be on. I've literally never seen them advertise a guy for a show he was not at. And Jay White is being advertised for New Japan shows in March. Jay White is not going to be in the Royal Rumble.
Honestly and truly, I didn't think that was going to happen anyway.
I'm followers. The guy and I follow each other on Twitter, and he posts like just polls every so often. He says, "What will your honest feelings be if this guy shows up at the Royal Rumble?" And he had a gif of Switchblade on there. And I replied to him and I said, I would lose my mind, but it's probably not going to happen. And he replied back to me and says, I sure hope you're right.
I agree with that. I would lose my mind. I would freak out almost as much as I freaked out about Edge. But at the same time, it is the last thing I want to see.
Oh, yeah, because the appeal of Jay White is what he can get away with in New Japan, and he won't be able to do any of that crap in WWE. Sure. He is a much more crass, vulgar heel than what you will find in Vince Mart.
Let me bring up another name for you, and I want to know if he's still as radioactive as you told me he was the last time his name came up, and I feel like this was about 4 or 5 months ago, because I haven't heard much from this guy. Marty Scurll.
I think Marty Scurll's wrestling career is over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Marty Scurll's wrestling career is in the same grave as Joey Ryan's.
I don't know about that. But yeah, I don't. Well, if anybody's going to hire him, it's Vince. But I think he's done. I don't even think he's going to get hired by the guys that used to be his best friends. I think he's done.
Yeah.
Ring of Honor took their time, did their investigation the way their investigation deserved to be conducted, and at the end of it, they cut ties with him. I think he's done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't heard much about him over the past several months.
What was that argument?
His is a name that I have had cross my mind about the Royal Rumble just because he's a free agent, but I don't think that it happens. Also, I also don't think that Marty Scurll would be a big enough name.
No.
That they would put him in the Royal Rumble and expect people to know who he is.
See, and honestly and truly, and I'm not saying this because Jay White isn't a big name. I'm saying it is almost more of an indictment on the typical WWE fan who wouldn't know who Jay White is. I would feel, you know, Jay White, if he were going to come to WWE, first place he would need to go would be NXT because those fans would know who the hell he is.
Right, I agree.
And to be completely honest, the only person in the last 5, 6, 7 years I can come up with 2 people that left New Japan to come stateside that if they were going to WWE did not need NXT. One of them is AJ Styles. The other one would have been Kenny Omega. You could literally take Kazuchika freaking Okada and move him to WWE, and the standard operating procedure of WWE fan would not know what to do with the Rainmaker. You'd have to put him in NXT, and he would immediately have to work a program with someone like Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Balor, Gargano, Ciampa.
Man,
could you imagine Kazuchika Okada and Tommaso Ciampa?
Good God.
Mind games they would play with each other.
I just had visions of Okada and Shinsuke at WrestleMania in my head, and I don't. Anyway, I have 2 more names. You're gonna have to help me on one of them because I don't know who has and has not announced themselves for the Rumble. Okay. And I'm gonna hold off on the other one and see if somebody else says it, and if nobody else says it, then I will say it. Is Dominic Mysterio in the Royal Rumble?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was one of them, and then I'm gonna hold off on the other one.
I've got one because we haven't seen him for a while. Rollins.
Yeah, it's probably about time for him to come back.
Wait,
yeah.
If we're talking Becky, let me just say this. Wouldn't surprise me if the women's rumble is last this year, because they've kind of been making a habit. The women's rumble closed the show 2 years ago. The men's closed it last year. Wouldn't surprise me if they flipped it again this year. If we see Seth,
Becky's coming back.
If we see Seth, hold on to your asses. We're going to get Becky at 29. Because they're announcing number 30 tonight on, I think it's WWE Backstage.
Yeah, I saw Twitter.
Back, by the way, love that show. But
let's see if we know yet.
I mean, as far as other men's surprises, I'm trying to think of. I mean, Joe would be personal for me. I would just love to see him come back for another run.
Is there anybody from NXT on the men's side that you think might come up?
I've been hearing some rumors about Damian Priest, maybe.
That would not surprise me one bit.
And maybe Adam Cole makes an appearance. Who knows? I mean, because he doesn't have anything going on per se right now in NXT, so why not make a splash in the Rumble and eliminate a few people?
He's in the Dusty Classic with Roddy.
That's true.
Oh, okay. So we don't have a men's number 30 yet, but what we do have is that they've announced that tomorrow night during WWE Backstage, Natalya versus Tamina, the winner is number 30. And I can't find that they've announced so the show's tomorrow night, so that's when they're going to announce the number 30 for the Madness tomorrow.
Oh, the show's tomorrow. Okay. Natalya and Tamina for number 30. I'm sorry. That's like putting Carmella at number 30 because her and R-Truth won the mixed match challenge. Good gravy. I've given you my one, well, aside from Cena, my one big spoiler, and that's my one big surprise, and that's Rollins. There's a couple of pipe dreams that I have, but they never will happen because they're injured. I will say this, legend wise, don't be surprised to see if we see Booker this year.
I like that. If Brian's still trying to think, then I can go ahead and say the one I was holding off on.
Go ahead.
Let me make one thing, and I'm sorry, I'm ripping this joke off from Adam Wilborn on What Culture, because I thought it was the funniest crap ever. The Booker T thing makes perfect sense because Ramblin' Rabbit's long lost cousin Bad Bunny is performing his song Booker T at the Rumble.
Yeah.
That joke was funny as hell when Wilborn made it on the, I think that was the Monday morning edition of their news. So shout out to Adam Wilborn. If Brian, you're still thinking, RJ, hit us with the big one that you got.
Hey Brian, turn around and look at your wall.
Oh crap.
Yeah, I don't think they would do that right now.
I absolutely think that they will.
So you think it might be Rock and Roman at WrestleMania?
Absolutely.
We're time.
Goes up and wins.
We're getting a crowd. We're going to have a crowd in Tampa.
That's true.
I think Rock shows up and wins.
We're gonna have a crowd in Tampa.
But that would piss me off, though.
Rock is my official prediction. If he does not show up and is not in the Royal Rumble, I have a different prediction. But Rock is my prediction. He will show up and win.
Why did you have to go and do that?
No, dude. I'm sorry, but if they bring him in, that is freaking, number one, awesome, and number two, brilliant. And I will tell you why right now. This is the mania following COVID. We're finally getting a crowd back. You need every eye you can get on this freaking product, and the best way to do that is to get and enlist the services of the biggest bleeping name in Hollywood. It makes perfect father mucking sense.
Exactly. That is my thoughts exactly. After everything that wrestling fans have endured over the last year, you having fans come back for this Mania, if not now, when?
Right. Again, it makes too much sense.
Right, which is why I fully expect it to not happen. But it makes all the sense in the world to me. If not now, when? Roman is as hot heel as he's ever gonna be right now.
God, yes.
You can't make Rock the heel in a Rock Roman match. It's not ever gonna happen. Roman has to be the heel in that, and right now is the time that you strike. The iron is hot. You do it right now.
Right. Brian, let me ask you a question, because I don't know why you hate this. You are the biggest Rock mark on the planet.
I will tell you why I hate this.
I think he hates the possibility of being disappointed.
No, that's not why I hate this. Because you two should be as glad as anybody that I have finally, no pun intended, come around on part-timers, even part-timers like this guy, coming in to WWE and taking, and maybe it's not taking spots away. I'm probably, way off base here. But we can't sit here and denigrate them for bringing in Goldberg and denigrate them for bringing back Cena and denigrate them for bringing back this person. Let me finish, guys, please. Let me finish.
No, hey, I'm going to let you finish. I'm just telling RJ, please let me go first.
All right.
I understand the story you can tell, and maybe that's the difference, is that there's an actual ready-made story here, the bloodline and family, and I'm going to teach you about respect and all that kind of stuff. But that story will still be there for 38 if you want it to, if you have enough long-term sense to book it out that way. Because there are a few other people, and I might as well give you my prediction right now about who I think should win this whole thing, because it's a chance for you to fix something that you screwed up in 2014. Daniel Bryan comes out #1, and he wrestles the smartest Royal Rumble we've ever seen. He's not mixing it up every 2 seconds with people. He's being strategic. He's using his brain. He's getting in his shots when he can get them. He eliminates 7 people. He goes the distance. He goes 65 minutes. Breaks Rey Mysterio's record. And I don't care who he dumps out at the to win the whole thing. Maybe he dumps out Jay. I don't know. Maybe he dumps out AJ Styles. He goes on to WrestleMania. He gets his one last run at the top, which he deserves because he's been dropping hints since late last year. This is my one final run, because he's got to think about long-term health. He's got to think about parenthood. He's got to think about all that stuff. And yes, I can see you're bringing fans back and you want to get eyes on the product. Let the wrestling get the eyes on the product. That is always going to be there down the road if you want to tell the story. But I'm admitting the error of my ways. In 2013, when Rock came back and took the title off of Punk, Patrick will attest to this. I got up in everybody's face in my living room, and I'm like, there, you all can go yourself, and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, Rock won, but now, with the benefit of hindsight, I can see what a colossal, gigantic, huge mistake that was. Because it set all this other stuff into motion, and it was a part-timer coming in and wrecking something that CM Punk had built to that point, a gloriously magnificent 400-plus day run as champion. I just think the time is not right, because you have a ready-made story with Daniel Bryan to tell if you have the ability to get out of your own way and sit down and get to work and write the story. Rant mode off.
Nicely done. I agree with both points that you made, Brian. If Rock's not coming back, it's got to be Daniel Bryan. It makes too much freaking sense for that. Yes, you keep pointing out that this can wait. No, it can't. And here's why. 1 year from now, who's to say Roman is as vile as he is right now? There isn't a single person, a single fan in WWE, as far as being a fanboy or a fangirl, who can look at Roman and go, yeah, I want to cheer Roman. No, Roman is the most hateable wrestler in WWE. He is WWE's golden bastard, and it's glorious. You can't wait, because it makes too much sense. Yes, that storyline is there, but Roman is still trying to truly assert himself as the tribal chief, as the head of the table. You can't wait a year to feed The Rock to him. The Rock isn't coming there to take a spot. The Rock would be coming there to offer himself up.
I completely agree.
He's not coming in there to take the title off of Punk. He's not coming in there to take the title off of Drew or Goldberg or anybody else. He's coming in there to do the favors for his cousin, because from a storyline perspective, it is too father mucking perfect.
Absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and make it 3 for 3 on the Daniel Bryan thing. That's who, when I said if Rock doesn't come back and win, I have a prediction. It's Daniel Bryan. I agree. Part of my argument in rebuttal to what Brian says is what Patrick just said. He is so heel hot right now. You can't wait. You strike right now. And again, you said it's a part-timer like Goldberg. It's somebody coming in and winning. It's somebody coming in and taking a spot like Rock did when he beat Punk for the championship. Both of those examples are an example of WWE doing something the fans never asked for. Everybody wanted Rock to come back. Nobody but you wanted Rock to beat Punk for the championship. Nobody wanted that to happen. Nobody wanted Punk's title reign to end. Nobody wanted Goldberg back. Nobody asked for that.
May I add real quick? Nobody wanted Rock to beat Cena.
Right. That too. Nobody asked for Rock to come in and beat Punk for the championship. Nobody asked for Goldberg to come back and be the number one contender or to come back at all. Nobody asked for any of that. People dying to see Roman Reigns assert himself as the tribal chief by beating Dwayne.
Yeah. Nobody wanted to see Batista.
That's what would happen. He would not be coming in to win the championship. He would be coming in to lay the F down for Roman Reigns and assert Roman Reigns as the head of the table.
Yeah, because let's be honest. Let's book that. Let's fantasy book that match. If we get that, that is a match where the two of them are going to beat the unmerciful hell out of one another. And it's going to end brutally because it's going to end with Roman pretty much just running Rock over. It's going to be definitive. It's going to be final. It's going to be the last time we ever see Dwayne Johnson in a ring. That would be his last match.
And maybe to borrow a quote from Jack Nicholson, deep down, talk about at parties. I just don't want to see that.
Right.
Makes sense. I got one dark horse other than the two guys that we have mentioned for the men's rumble. 3 syllables. No, I'm sorry, 4 syllables. Nakamura. They've turned him face again.
I've seen rumblings. I definitely would not hate that.
I would not hate it either. But at the same time, it doesn't make, him winning it doesn't necessarily make sense as far as Mania is concerned. But I want to throw one final turd in the punch bowl, gentlemen. And we go back to the Monday Night Raw side of things. Goldberg and Drew. But there's this certain pain in the ass from Cleveland that has a certain briefcase.
This is true.
So let me ask you one last question. We've talked about Roman. We all think Roman's going to beat KO. We talked about who we think is going to win both of the Royal Rumble matches. At the end of the day, fill in the blank. When the show is over, your winner and new WWE champion is RJ.
It's still Drew.
It's still Drew?
Yeah.
Brian?
I would love it if Goldberg beat Drew and then Miz came out and cashed in on him. I never thought about that before, but you've got to do something with that briefcase because you've hot potatoed it too much and you've almost booked it into irrelevancy.
Yeah.
That would be like oh crap.
Hey, not just that. You've kind of painted yourself into a corner. So honestly and truly, if they're bringing Goldberg in to, basically for the sole purpose of the Miz pulling a swerve,
then fine. Then Goldberg was the red herring.
And in my see, and the way that I
know exactly what you're about to say.
the pessimistic way that I look at everything WWE does is what would happen would be Goldberg would beat Drew for the championship, and then Miz would come out, cash in, and lose, and Goldberg would still leave with the championship. And that's disgusting.
Yes, that is.
Or you were about to say you can't give the writers that much credit for that.
No, actually, that's something that the writers totally would do because they're lazy. To quote Deadpool in Deadpool 2, that's just lazy writing.
I think Miz cashes in at Elimination Chamber.
Stupid idea from bad creative.
Yeah, that too. But again, well, also wouldn't surprise me if he did cash in at Elimination Chamber, much like Edge did the first time he cashed. Let me ask you one last question, kind of moving, fast forwarding for Lord knows how long. Do you think we're ever going to see somebody else cash in at WrestleMania, or are we going to reserve that one as the Seth Rollins moment?
I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I hope that the heist of the century stands as the alone briefcase moment at Mania.
I completely agree because that was so flipping brilliant. And I would like to point out something that happened at Brian's house that night. While Brian was in everyone's face several years prior because Rock beat Punk for the title, I left that night at Brian's house telling everybody, called it. I literally, before the show started, I went, we're gonna open with Seth and Orton. Orton's gonna beat him on some crazy ass RKO, and then by the end of the night, Rollins will be WWE champion because he'll cash in on somebody. Oh, that's not gonna happen. And then Rollins takes that mother of all RKOs, the most famous RKO in history, and I just literally in my mind, I'm doing this. Just start the clock. Here it comes. And then they're both, Roman and Brock, both laid out. Cue the music. And I'm just like, damn, I'm tired of being right. And I would like to point out something. I was by myself that night. Did not have anyone with me. Why? Because just a couple of days after that particular WrestleMania, a certain little blonde hurricane was born. So, just pointing
that out. If they do it again, maybe it'll be a female this time,
and it would have to be perfect.
And it won't be as memorable as the heist of the century, but that could be a thing where, maybe Bianca Belair, has the briefcase or something like that, or maybe, maybe Candice LeRae will have the briefcase at some point and she can do something with it.
I think if they're going to do it again, the only way it would make sense, not necessarily a heist of the century, but one hell of an underdog would have to have the briefcase.
Yeah.
And it would need to be one of those moments at WrestleMania where all the stars and all the planets aligned and said underdog found themselves in literally the right place at the right time, and everybody in the stadium, 60, 70, 100,000 people screaming at said superstar, cash the damn thing in. Cash it in, 1, 2, 3, place erupts, and there's your end. Roll credits.
You know whose character it fits to cash in at WrestleMania?
Who?
Adam Cole.
Yes, it does. Boom.
Yeah, I think if it ever happens again, it's Adam Cole. And I will reiterate, I hope that the heist of the century stays as the single briefcase moment at WrestleMania.
Well, we also thought that the streak would never end. So, tends to piss on everything that we love.
Or it did.
Yeah. So anyway, gentlemen, so depending on who you're asking, it's either going to be Bianca Belair or Rhea Ripley winning the Rumble. And we pretty much all think it's going to be Daniel Bryan, but two of us are hoping for The Rock. And I'm just going to point out one thing to the Rock mark on this show as our bed music cues up and we're getting ready to get out of here. If RJ and I are right on this one, and by the end of the night that's happening, Brian, you go hate this show next week.
Why? Because I wasn't afraid to have a take?
No, because let me ask you a question. Yes or no? And RJ, you can answer this one as well. Do you have a best friend that you find completely and utterly insufferable when they're right?
Apparently I have two of them.
But no, I'm asking about one specific best friend, a certain bald, Southern gentleman, glorious bastard.
Oh, look at that. He's putting himself over.
Hey, I have not done this in a while, so you give me my dang moment. But if I'm right, don't I have a tendency to be an insufferable pain in the ass?
That also happens when you're wrong.
Yeah, okay. Moving right along. Guys, hell of a show.
Auburn versus Georgia, Exhibit A.
No, that was RJ being insufferable, and it was freaking hilarious. I just want to put that out. Hey, by the way, Georgia's so great. Anyway, let's go ahead and get out of here. Enjoy the Rumble, because you know what? We're going to. We got a nice big old fat Google Meet set up, and we're all gonna get together with friends and family, and we're gonna watch.
It's Rumble season.
Rumble season. And speaking of season, which sounds a lot like sizzling, there may or may not be pictures posted to Twitter at Rant Mode On concerning what Mrs. Rant Mode On and I will be dining on during said Rumble. There's some nice big fat freaking ribeye steaks in the freezer with my name on them. Steak and taters. Steak and taters.
My favorite.
Steak and taters. How you like your steak cooked? RJ, I'm guessing you're probably a medium rare guy.
I am a medium rare guy.
Brian, you're medium well? Damn.
Yeah, I know that when there's pink in steak, it's fine, but I still need to have on pink.
Right. And you know what's funny?
I don't know why. I'm just not a connoisseur of steak like the two of you, apparently.
I'm right in the middle. I like mine medium. Depending on what kind of cut it is. You give me a filet mignon, oh, give me that dang thing medium rare. If you give me a ribeye, give me that dang thing medium. The fat don't render as well when it's medium rare. Anyway, now I'm hungry. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Patrick. You screwed yourself over. It's too late for you to eat. You're a jerk. Anyway, moving
There's
right
a Taco Bell up the street. It's all good.
Yeah, no. So, enjoy the Rumble. We're going to. So, we will see you guys next week. Same Wrestling with Eagles time. Same Wrestling with Eagles channel. For Brian, for RJ, for everybody else involved with the show. We thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Click the bell for the notification. Notice the brand new little subscribe bar we got. Cost me a whole lot of money. Don't forget, leave comments below. Let us know what you think. Enjoy the show. We'll see you guys next week when we figure out who's right, who's wrong on the next episode of Wrestling with Egos. And until then, we'll see you next week. This is why we love wrestling.